What's going on, my Century Unit? It's your friendly neighborhood sentiment here. So this is the first classic WWE pay-per-view review of 2024. We're in January. The Royal Rumble season is upon us. Once again in the month of January, I'm going to review some classic Royal Rumble shows. I did a vote poll weeks ago for what classic Royal Rumble show you want me to review to kick off 2024. And the winner is Royal Rumble 1994. So I'm going to review this show right now. So this show was at the Providence Civic Center. Right now it's called the Amica Mutual Pavilion in Providence, Rhode Island on the 22nd of January 1994. The attendance of the show was 14,500. Royal Rumble 94 received about 200,000 pay-per-view buys, a really good buy rate at the time. It downgraded the previous year's Royal Rumble show, that's from 1993. I reviewed that show a couple of years ago, go and check it out. You had Yokozuna winning the 93 Rumble match, Bret vs. Razor, Shawn versus Marty Jannetty, and the Steiners versus the Beverly Bodies. Royal Rumble 93 received about 300,000 pay-per-view buys. That was good. Wow, holy shit. In the 90s, I think the early portion of the decade, the buy rate of the Rumble was decent. This show, Royal Rumble 94, that is known for having not one, but two winners of the Royal Rumble match. We'll get to the Rumble match later on in this review. You got the casket match between Yokozuna versus The Undertaker. I'll get to that match later on. I think it was a good choice to review this show. I'll get to my overall thoughts of Royal Rumble 94 in the end. So the commentators for Royal Rumble 1994, we got Vince McMahon and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase Sr. During the show, you had Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon. They were part of Radio WWF. They will appear on commentary to commentate the Intercontinental title match between Razor Ramon versus Owen R. Shyster, IRS. I'll get to that match later on in this review. 5 matches. That was the thing at the time. Right now it's like fucking 8, 9, 10. It's I think it's a 2-hour show. Right now it's 3 hours, 4 hours. I think the last Rumble show in 2023 was 4 hours, man. That's like overkill. But anyway, let's do the quick result of the dark match. So the dark match, you had the Brooklyn Brawler, that is Steve Lombardi, defeat Jim Powers. I think Jim Powers was part of the Killer Beast, I think. I might be wrong about this. With Brian B. Blair, I think. I might be wrong about this. Don't quote me. Anyway, so the first match to kick off Royal Rumble of 1994, we got Tatanka taking on Bam Bam Bigelow with Luna Vachon. Bam Bam Bigelow's freshly squeezed in the corner. Originally it was supposed to be Tatanka versus Ludwig Borga, because at the time they were feuding. Borga snapped the undefeated streak of Tatanka, and probably supposed to do, I think it was a blow off to this rivalry between Tatanka and Ludwig Borga, but unfortunately Ludwig Borga suffered an injury before this show, and that was the end of Borga's time with the Federation. It's a shame. They're trying to give this guy, he's a foreign heel. He's from Finland. It's funny, at the time you had 2 foreign heels. You got the world champion Yokozuna, who's from Japan. Ludwig Borga's from Finland. They're trying to give him this push. I think he was kind of this mini feud with Lex Luger. He's all American. I don't think it went anywhere. So he was I think he was in the main event of Survivor Series, and then all of a sudden, he was gone. It's a shame. It's really sad. He passed away in 2010 at the age of 47. I think he fought in the UFC. I think it was UFC was in 1993. I'm guessing before he was in WWF or after in WWF. It's vice versa. So anyway, Bam Bam Bigelow was feuding with Doink. Not it was the Matt Bourne Doink, and then suddenly the Ray Apollo Doink. So anyway, the match was okay. It was an okay match. It wasn't terrible. No, hell no, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really an instant classic, you know. It wasn't going to be like a 4-star classic, you know. It was, I give it like 2 stars. It was just an okay match. It was just kind of there because no Pete, no Bill, because Bigelow was the last minute replacement of Ludwig Borger because he got hurt. It was a good match, you know. You had, you know, yeah, it was okay, but it's the same thing, but it's agility versus strength, you know. Even though like Bam Bigelow, you know, he's a big dude, you know, he's also an athletic big guy, athletic big man. I'm trying to say, the match was okay. In the end, Tatanka hit a crossbody off the top rope. Yeah, before that, you know, he was doing the war dance, you know, and then Bigelow. This is one more of the match, by the way. Bigelow hit Tatanka with an enziguri, and he marked Tatanka with his own war dance thing to get some heat. That was good. Anyway, so Tatanka got the victory, and that was it. You know, let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is first of 3 championship matches on this show. The first championship match is for the WWF Tag Team Championships. The Quebecers, that is Jacques Rougeau and Pierre Carolette. That's right now PCO in Impact Wrestling. Right now they're just going back as TNA. Defending the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships against Bret Hart and Owen Hart. So the Quebecers in the middle of their second reign as the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions. They defeated the 1-2-3 Kid and Marty Jannetty. It was on a house show at MSG. And before that, you know, 1-2-3 Kid, that's Shaw Waltman, the future X-Pac and Six-Pac. Him and Molly Jannetty defeated the Quebecers for the tag team titles on Raw a few weeks prior. That was on the 10th of January's episode of Monday Night Raw. And then a week later, dropped the belts back to the Quebecers on a house show at MSG. It's a very rare time that seeing a championship drop on a house show. It's really in WWE, but in WCW they do it a lot. Anyway, Bret and Owen was still in this friction of their relationship because, you know, the brothers, by the way, I'm not saying it the boyfriend and girlfriend, you know, I'm not saying it in the gay relationship, the, you know, relationship of, you know, the brothers, you know, Bret's the older sibling, and Owen is the younger sibling. So it kind of started at Survivor Series. It was the family feud match. I'm trying to get my words out. Family feud match at Survivor Series in 1993. Owen got pissed off at Bret because Owen was the only member of the Hart family got eliminated in that family feud match at Survivor Series. So Owen gets tired of being underneath, behind Bret's shadow. He wants to challenge Bret. Bret refused. He don't want to fight his own brother. So they kind of like patch things up, and they're going for the tag team titles. This match between the Quebecers, I forgot one note, you know, Jacques Rougeau is a former Intercontinental Champion. Defeat Bret Hart for the belt 2 years prior. And I think he feuded with Bret when he was part of the tag team with his brother Ray. You know, the Rougeau brothers versus the Hart Foundation. That was in the late 80s, early 90s WWF. You know, at this moment in time, things change, you know. You know, Jacques in another tag team with Carolette. Bret, at this moment in time, is a single star now. He took a break from in the world title picture, you know. Anyway, I forgot to mention that. So, the match was good. By the way, you got Johnny Polo. That's the future Raven, by the way, in ECW and then WCW. Then he returned to the company in the year 2000 in the Attitude Era. Is managing the Quebecers. Raven, Johnny Polo, whatever you call him, he didn't really fit on this group because, you know, they're from the French Canadians, you know. I don't know, that's just me. This match is Battle of Canada, you know. Different backgrounds of being Canadian, you know. You got Ouellette and Jacques Rougeau, they're from Quebec. Brett and Owen are from Calgary. It's basically French Canada versus normal Canada, I'm guessing. The match was really good. I really like this match, you know. You had this first of many times with a screwy finish, a fuck finish. I'll get to that shortly, you know. It was a really good match, you know. You know, good athleticism between both tag teams. This is one more of the match. So Johnny Polo came onto the ring apron. Brett trying to chase Johnny Polo. Polo kind of pulled the ropes. Brett tumbling out of the ring, and Brett injured his knee in the process. And then you got Rougeau, Jacques and Ouellette, you know, Carl Ouellette, you know. Rougeau and Ouellette working on the leg of Bret Hart, you know. Owen came to the rescue, you know. And at the same time, Tim White's trying to do the fucking free count. I said to myself, is it supposed to be a counter already? It was very confusing, by the way, when I watched this match on the network, you know. But it was just very confusing moment of this match, you know. They get back in the ring. In the end, Brett was going for the sharpshooter, trying to lock in Jacques or Ouellette with the sharpshooter. Unfortunately, his knee it's hurt him so much, you know. The referee just kind of like called for the bell. Because, you know, the Quebecers retained the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team titles because Brett is unable to compete. You know, his leg is hurt. You know, Owen got pissed off. In the end, it was really good, by the way. Owen kind of kicked Brett in the knee to end the relationship between older brother versus younger brother. You know, they reunite years later when Brett was a heel, you know, to reform the Hart Foundation, this time as a faction, you know. Go and check my WWF 1997 25-year later reviews. You know, I review some Raws and pay-per-views for more information. So, anyway, Owen says, you know, you should have tagged me in. You're selfish. You don't worry about me. You worry about yourself. You're trying to be the hero. This was with the start of the rivalry of 1994. That's gonna be I did a rivalry video a year ago on this channel. You know, I put Brian Owen as the rivalry in the WWE in 1994, and it was. You know, they went on to fight at WrestleMania 10. They fought SummerSlam in the steel cage when Brett was the world champion. You know, it was. You know, Owen turning heel was the right move because I think since he came to the company, his second run of the company, he had a brief run in the 80s. In the 89 when he was the Blue Blazer, but I'm talking about his run between 91 to 99. But Owen's like early years in the company, he was kind of like a cookie cutter babyface. I think turning heel was the right move, and he ended up becoming a good character throughout the rest of the 90s until he died. You know, being this I kind of like Owen's character. You know. The nugget, you know, the sleazy guy. I don't really call him a sleazy guy. This sniveling, cowardly heel, you know. I think he went on to have a good year for Owen Hart. You know, he went on to win the 1994 King of the Ring. And he went on to have a main event, not main event, he went on to have that big world title program against his older brother Brett at SummerSlam. So, you know, he went on to have a good career as a heel, you know, feuding with Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin, you know, it's really a shame because this year marks the 25th anniversary of his death. You know, it's just what it is, man. But I'm gonna wrap it up before, otherwise I've got to focus on other matches on the show. But besides that, I think it was a good decision, man. In my opinion, I wish they just done it better. You know, if I don't really do a lot of fantasy booking. I'd rather have have the Quebecers pinning Brett, then do the Owen kick Brett in the injured knee, and that was it. So that's just me. But besides that, I think this was match of the night. Despite of that screwy finish, that stuff with the Quebecers attacking Brett's knee. You know, it was just like, Tim White's doing the 10 count or whatever. It's confusing for me. You know, Brett, he had Owen firing out the outside, but it's just kind of But let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is the second of 3 championship matches on the show. The second one's for the Intercontinental Championship. Razor Ramon, the bad guy, defending the belt against Owen R. Shyster, IRS for short. This is a blow-off of the rivalry between Razor Ramon and IRS. It started in the summertime when Razor Ramon lost to the 1-2-3 Kid, who debuted in the company. That was on an episode of Monday Night Raw. I think it was around May or June time of that year. People laughing and mocking Razor Ramon, including the heels, Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase, and Owen R. Shyster. They fought they feud at SummerSlam. They feud at Survivor Series. Razor won the Intercontinental title in the September's episode of Raw. The build up to this, you had IRS stealing Razor Ramon's change. Also, while Razor and IRS was feuding, they're developing the rivalry between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels over the whole who's the real Intercontinental Champion, because Razor won the belt because Shawn Michaels was suspended because of the I think it was the steroids allegation. This is the height of there were a lot of scandals in professional wrestling in that period. Steroid scandals, sex scandals. I don't want to get into it. Do your research on the internet, folks. Anyway, the match before that, you had IRS, doing his shit because he's the tax man. If he said to the fans, if you don't want the IRS kicking your doors out at night, you better you pay your taxes. Besides that, this match between IRS versus Razor Ramon, I think this is the second best match of the night. Once again, like the tag team title match, screwy finish. The referee was knocked out. Razor was going for the Razor's Edge, outcon Shawn Michaels, decking Razor with his own Intercontinental title belt. IRS pinned Razor Ramon. He won this match. He thought he won the Intercontinental Championship for the first time in his career. Unfortunately, you got I don't know who's the other referee. He's one with the dark hair, You had Earl Hebner coming around, telling the other referee that he didn't won the belt. The match was a restart, something like that. Yeah. By the way, it was confusing. It was very confusing for me. So, and afterwards, in the end, Razor hit IRS with the Razor Edge, pins him, and retains. So, despite that, it was a good match. But besides that, it was so screwy, man. It's very confusing. First, like I said, the tag team title match. Brett was still down. Owen trying to get in the ring, did a brawl. Referee doing the 10 count, and all this, man. It's so screwy, man. It's just what the hell, man. It's just all over. The booking is all over the place. I don't want to get in detail of it. It's just what it is, man. But you could say this was the end of the Razor IRS rivalry. Because this is, this Shawn stuff is just setting up the ladder match at WrestleMania 10. It's just what it is, man. But it's just it was kind of meh kind of way. It was really, it was a good match. But besides that, it's just, like I said, screwy finish. Let's move on to the next match. So the next match, this is a casket match for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji defending the belt against The Undertaker with Paul Bearer in his corner. Undertaker and Yokozuna kind started the feud in late '93. They compete in the Survivor Series match in the main event. The build up to this, Undertaker is preparing. He built his own casket, to face Yokozuna. Yokozuna is doing his storyline like he's super afraid with caskets. He's very interrogated, really scared of the Undertaker. Oh my! I'll get to that later on, but besides that, man. And by the way, I think this is Undertaker's first WWF Championship match. Won a singles WWF Championship match since 1991. That was against Hulk Hogan at Tuesday night in Texas. That was ending that bullshit finish that set up the 1992 Rumble match. But anyway, this match sucked. It sucked. You got a lot of heels helping Yokozuna. You got like Crush, Annenbaum, the head Shrinkers, Jeff Jarrett, Diesel, Kabuki, and Temaru. They're just helping Yokozuna. Undertaker trying to fend off against the heels, but the numbers game kind of catch up against the Dead Man. While that, Paul Bearer's trying to use the power of the urn to control the Undertaker. It's kind of backfiring for him. Yeah, not Yoko. Bearer kind of hit Dax, Cornette, and Fuji with the urn. It was so stupid. Every heels hitting the finisher on the Undertaker. Yoko hit the Undertaker with the urn, put him in the casket, and that was it. And afterwards, you got and before during the beatdown, the urn is smoke. Green smoke coming out the urn, green smoke coming out the casket. I'm guessing it's simulating that. Speculating that the Undertaker died. It's so cheesy and over the top. I'm guessing they're speculating that, they're to make sure the fans. It's more like making the fans guessing what's happening. I'm trying to explain, but this was just crap. Undertaker, and then Undertaker's inside the casket. Open his eyes. The mankind's gonna see the rebirth of the Undertaker. I will never rest in peace. And then you got the graphic, the black and white graphic, and Undertaker is lift up to heaven. This is cheesy, man. This is absolutely cheesy, man. If you're follow the Undertaker's career, whether it's in the 90s, in the end of the Hulkamania era, the New Gen era, the Attitude era, the Ruthless Aggression era, the PG era, some of these Undertaker mind games that could be hit or miss. This was cheesy, man. I just don't like it, man. I don't mind other Undertaker mind games in the past. I think in the Ruthless Aggression era and the PG era and a little bit of the Attitude era, that was kind of fine. But this was so cheesy as shit, man. It's just before this stuff, the match was not that good. Sometimes casket matches, man, they're just so nuts. They're never that good, These Undertaker matches, man, they end up being hit or miss, But this storyline did not do the Undertaker favors. It didn't really do Yokozuna any favors, man. I think this storyline did Yokozuna a disservice, and he's this big Japanese guy, and he's suddenly he's now scared of the Undertaker. He's now scared of coffins. It's just what the hell? It's just it did. It showed no weakness. He debuted in 1992. They booked this unbeatable monster. Winning the '93 Rumble, winning the World Championship not once but twice against Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan, and suddenly he's afraid with the Undertaker. It's just what the hell, man? It's, I think it's the final nail of Yokozuna's world title reign. It's just it didn't do any favors, man. It's just like they booked him like a chicken shit heel, man. It made him look weak, you know, relying on his friends to do the job. He can't do the job for him, you know. Yeah, they kind of backed themselves in the corner, you know. Because one thing, you know, like I think they want Yokozuna to drop the belt at WrestleMania. The 1 year after he won the belt for the first time, I get it. But at the same time, you're building The Undertaker, you know. I think it also did a disservice on him, you know. Yeah, he had the beatdown, that's kind of fine. If I compare his 2 casket matches at the 2 Rumbles, you know, Rumble 94 and his match against Shawn Michaels in Rumble 98, I think I prefer the Undertaker Shawn Michaels casket match, you know, from 1998. Even though casket matches, they end up like being clusterfucks. But I like the 98 casket match, you know. Yeah, you had the same. They're trying to recreate that moment with the heels beating down the Undertaker, but that was way better. You had Kane is the one who cost the Undertaker the WWF Championship. You know, at least Kane set the casket on fire. That was way better than this. You know, Undertaker going up to heaven. It's just like really. Yeah, I'm not the Miz, man, but it's just like it's just what it is. You know, Undertaker takes some time off because he injured his back. He come back at SummerSlam of that year to face the fake Undertaker, Bryan's Lee Undertaker. You know, I reviewed SummerSlam 94 on this channel last year. Go and check it out. So let's move on to the next match and moving on to the main event. The main event, we got the 1994 Royal Rumble match. The winner faced Yokozuna for the World Wrestling Federation Championship at WrestleMania 10. This Rumble match was okay. Just okay. Wasn't great. Wasn't terrible. It was just kind of there. You know, I'll get to the ending later on. So, we got the debut of Bob Holly, because at the time he was Sparky Thurman. Yeah, Sparky Thurman. It was Thurman Sparky Plug, you know. And that character was based on Bob Holly's real life, you know. Before he was a professional wrestler, he was a race car driver. I'm glad I'm glad they did this, you know, using the character of that guy's real life, you know, like before he became a pro wrestler, you know. Anyway, so Royal Rumbles, you know, they tell a good story, had some moments, but yeah, bare moments of this Rumble match, but not so much, you know. Later on, early on this match, there's backstage segment of Kabuki and Tenryu beating down Lex Luger, because it started in SummerSlam the previous year. You know, Lex Luger fought Yokozuna for the WWF Championship. Luger won the match, but unfortunately that was a count out. He won the match, but did not win the title. So the agreement is that, you know, Luger will never challenge for the WWF Championship while Yokozuna as the champion. So, like, the build up to this, you know, Jack Tunney did like a fault poll. This is years before internet. Internet wasn't invented back in '93. They did like a phone call poll for if Lex Luger decided to be in the Rumble match. You know, you got Kabuki and Tenryu, I'm guessing like that Mr. Fuji, and they kind of like sociates with Yokozuna, stopping Luger, challenging Yokozuna for the championship again, like via winning the Rumble match. So that I'm trying to like explain the story why. Anyway, they're beating down Lex Luger. You know, Luger came back, eliminated one of the guys. I think he eliminated the Great Kabuki. It's funny, like, the last match I cover the Great Kabuki was his match against Jimmy Valiant, a.k.a. Charlie Brown from Our Town. That was at the inaugural Starrcade event from 1983. Tenryu, I did my research on this guy. He appeared in the WWF before. That was in 1991. He competed at WrestleMania 7. You know, he spent most of the time in Japan. I think he wrestled in WCW. I'm not too sure, but anyway, he survived. He survived. I think he appeared in the final 5. He got eliminated by Lex Luger and Bret Hart. So yeah, Luger eliminated both Kabuki and Tenryu, the guy who was trying to got taken out by Luger before he entered the Rumble match himself. So anyway, so the Iron Man of this Rumble match, was it was Bam Bam Bigelow. I'm shocked, Bam Bam Bigelow entered this match at number 15, survived half an hour. This was a 55-minute match, It was a long match, by the way. The MVP of this Rumble match has to be Diesel, aka Kevin Nash. He entered this ring at number. I'm trying to find it, folks. He entered this Rumble match at number 7, eliminate 13. I think that stands until Kane broke it in 2001. I think it was Kane. No, Kane broke it 14, and then Roman Reigns broke it a decade later in 2014, and then Brock broke it years later in 2020, I think. Anyway, Diesel had a good showing, man. You could tell they're putting the eggs in the Diesel basket. He'll become world champion at the end of the year. Him and Bob Backlund square off. It's funny, both of them will be World Wrestling Federation champion in 1994. Even though Backlund was a WWF champion back in the 80s, before the dawning of the Hulkamania era. I think he won a belt in. I think it was in the 70s, late 70s, and going into the 80s, he dropped the belt to the Iron Sheik, and then Sheik dropped the belt to Hogan. Him and Shawn, because at the time there were dudes with attitudes, future Clique members, man. Shawn and Marty, Marty Jannetty had the interaction in this Rumble match, they kind of feud in 93. Shawn turned on Marty in the Brewers Beefcake Barber segment in 1992. I think Shawn eliminated Marty Jannetty. Besides that, nothing much to talk about. I don't think it was a good Rumble. It was okay, but not a lot of stories. It's just not a lot of stories. And also the Rumble match. The two guys are potential to win this Rumble match is Luger and Brett. Shawn was not quite ready. And by the way, Shawn had a decent run in this Rumble match. I think it is. I think he did compete in the Rumble match when he was part of the Rockers, but as the Heartbreak Kid, he had a good showing. He entered entered this match at number 18, survived almost half an hour. He was in the final four. The final four was Brett, Luger, Shawn, and Fatu. Fatu is the future Rikishi. I think the next time you survive in the last stages of the Rumble match will be in 2001. Anyway, here's the ending of this. After Brett and Luger eliminated Shawn and Fatu, Luger was trying to pick up Brett, trying to body slam Brett out of the ring, trying to throw him out of the ring, but Brett kind of I'm trying to describe it, folks. He kind of small packaged Luger. Both Luger and Brett kind of tumble out of the ring. The referees were so confused, who got eliminated first. They both raised each other's arms. Out comes Jack Tunney. Next time they attempt to do this spot, in a in the Royal Rumble match, will be a decade later in 2005. With John Cena and Batista. They both did that same spot. Referees don't have no Scooby. Who's the decided winner? They raise each other's arms. Jack Tunney appeared after this. It's not on the same level as Vince McMahon doing this. When Vince McMahon appeared, in 2005, he ended up torn both his quads. So they decide, Brett and Luger are the co-winners of the Royal Rumble. This is the first and only time they did that. Like I said, they tried to do this attempt again in 2005, but that was a restart. Batista went on to win that year's Royal Rumble match. But back in 94, it was something new at the time. I think it was good creative at the time, Like they're not putting the belt, they're not dropping the belt to but Yokozuna's not dropping the belt in January. They're gonna save it at WrestleMania. Like with Luger and Brett, they're kind of like the top baby faces at the time. Like I think like they kind of backed themselves in the corner. Like Brett, if you know the story, he was supposed to beating Hogan for the WWF Championship in 1993. Unfortunately, Hogan pieced out the company. He doesn't want to drop the belt to Brett because of his size, his height. So they give him a consolation prize, winning the 1993 Royal Rumble match. Probably they tell Brett behind the scenes, you're going to get the belt anytime in 1994. With Luger, they're trying to recreate the mistakes because they should have really pulled the trigger having Luger beat Yokozuna for the championship at SummerSlam, but they didn't. So with like people like not Yokozuna, Lex Luger and Bret Hart, I think Luger was created by the Machine. He ended up getting booed at WrestleMania because he was the he got booed. He's starting to get booed. He was kind of like the corporate Machine. Bret is kind of like the people's champion. No pun into The Rock. He's got the heart of the fans. And it's a shame we never got like By the way, they did this like toss the coin at WrestleMania 10. Who goes first? Bret went on to win the championship at WrestleMania 10 and restore the status quo. Yeah, it's a shit. This is years before the triple threat thing was a thing in professional wrestling. But it's a shame we never got Luger versus Bret. I don't know if they fought in WCW. When they were in WCW in the late 90s, but they're not really big stars in that company. Luger was a big star, but he was kind of like an afterthought, And Bret was also an afterthought, he lost so much momentum. But like they should have done this one in the peak of their powers, I think they should have done this match. I think they would be good, but it's just what it is, like I said, it's the first and only time that two guys are co-winners of the Rumble match. I don't think they will do this again, the experiment ever again. It's just otherwise they're gonna do like they could do two. They could probably do it again, but this time they could restart the match in one scenario, and the second scenario could do a triple threat, but. Yeah, I don't think I don't think they'll recreate this spot ever again. But besides that, this Rumble match was okay. It wasn't terrible, wasn't great. It was just kind of there. The most memorable part is just Luger and Bret are co-winners. My overall rating of the 1994 Royal Rumble, I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. It's back and forth between giving it a 5 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10, but I put it in the middle, giving it a 5.5 out of 10. Is it a good Rumble show? No. Is it a terrible Rumble show? Not really. I think it was a bit mediocre, The only thing in the bad has to be for many things. One, the Yoko versus Taker casket match was shit. Taker going to heaven, that was just cheesy. And there was a lot of screwy finishes on this show. It's just like the two things in the okay is the opener, Tatanka versus Bam Bam Bigelow, and the 94 Rumble match. But the only matches in the good has to be the two championship matches. The tag team title match, Quebecers versus Brian Owen, and Razor versus IRS, and also I put Owen Hart's Hilton in the good, but I avoid watching the 1994 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. If you watch it as a nostalgic thing, be my guest, but for me it was just it's not a terrible show, wasn't a good show, it was just kind of like a thumb of a middle Royal Rumble pay-per-view. So what is your thoughts on the 1994 Royal Rumble pay-per-view? Leave the thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button, click the like, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube, be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, let's travel 10 years into the future. Let's see how the 2004 edition of the Royal Rumble lived up the hype. You got a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship, ending in a BS anticlimactic finish. And also, the 2004 Royal Rumble is known for being the forgotten Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and it's also got the forgotten Royal Rumble match because he should not be named won that year's Rumble match. Until then, this is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.